G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Waratahs. Finally, the Super 12 has returned in 2022. I know, they call it Super Rugby Pacific, but hey, we know it's a Super 12. And this is the first game of Super 12 Rugby. Technically, the second game, first game between the Moana Pacifica and the Blues was postponed due to COVID. But yeah, this is the first game, and a new tradition, a new, I guess, era is upon us. The Fijian Drua is here to play the Waratahs in the first round. The Fijian Drua unveiled their own kind of haka, their own war dance going the game, and this is a thing that in their press release is called the Nabole, and this is technically only supposed to be performed only during their own home games. But I am pretty sure this game is played in New South Wales. But this game is originally scheduled to play in Fiji, I'm pretty sure. But because of the restrictions, it's been shuffled to New South Wales. So technically, this should have been a home game. And as a result, the Fijian Drua did perform the Nabole in this game. Really, really cool. They had a spear and really brought the atmosphere out for that opening game of Super Rugby Super 12. And the overall, you look kind of like the Fimby from the Fijian national team. It starts kind of like on the ground doing this sort of movements, but there's a little bit of difference between the actual variations, and obviously the lyrics, the words are different. It's more the words are more catered to the Fijian Druas instead of, you know, obviously the completely different lyrics. But the overall dance is kind of similar, has a very similar feel to it, has a very similar structure to it. Obviously following that lineage of the Fimby, following that tradition, looked extremely cool to kick off the game. And so going to this game, a few things. First of all, this is the Waratahs haven't won a game last year, so it's been over. And you know, since you know the Super Rugby is played earlier in the year, so it's over a year and a half since the Waratahs has won again. So the official date was supposed to be 448 days since the Waratahs won again. Last year has been horrendous. But going into this game, and to be fair, this is not because the Drua is not that good. This is because the Waratahs really, really improved from a lot of the mistakes, a lot of the errors they made last year, a lot of the stuff that they identified from last year, and they really worked to improve it. You can see the improvement on the field. So a couple of things that the Waratahs did really well this game that wasn't there last year was the 4-pack organization in their lineouts, their rolling mauls, and then their scrummaging. So last year, the Waratahs lineouts were just horrendous, and one of by far the what led the team down. And then also the defense has significantly improved for the Waratahs. So everybody's the tackling rate, completion rate is much better than what they were last year. You know, last year, the lineout defense, the maul defense from Waratahs was quite was so preposterously bad. There were games where you literally look like the teams were trying to learn how to defend the rolling maul on the field, right? It was pretty bad last year. But this year, all of that's gone. Everything's clean, everything is crisp. Everybody knows what they're doing. They scored a couple tries with the rolling mauls and setting up set piece from the maul, from the lineouts. Really good. Lots of variations from the lineouts as well from the Waratahs. Extremely good executions. The Fijian Drua was not bad. They were really good as well. Coming out, putting a really good fire against the Waratahs, putting a lot of pressure on the Waratahs. In fact, you know, putting the Waratahs in a position where they had to take early points with penalty kicks instead of, you know, trying to go for that try, to trying to just, really show a lot of respect for the Drua at the start, because of the Drua's really high pace and really physical, just the physicality really brought out at the start. However, the Drua really still, maybe the result of being a new team, had a lot of small errors, small handling errors, just little things that goes just really disruptive to their momentum to be able to constantly apply that pressure, and resulting in themselves really squandering some of that opportunity at the start of the game. In fact, it actually got worse in the second half with the mistakes start piling up against the Fijian Drua. There was a period in the first half where the Drua was doing really well, putting a lot of pressure, and we can't expect them to score, but the Waratahs were able to hold off with this really good defense. And also towards the end of the second half, again, Drua was really putting pressure on the Waratahs. I guess the reserves coming on the field, really piling a lot of pressure on that. And then eventually the Drua was not able to score, unfortunately, despite pushing the clock over like 4 minutes over time into the 84th minute. Still not able to score. There was really good defense by the Waratahs. There was a yeah, there was a little bit of unfortunate like penalties against the Drua. One of them was a yellow card where the Drua looked like they scored a try, and then the referees said the ball was held up, and one of the Fijian guy went in, just like kind of lifted up one of the Waratahs player like horizontally, try to like kind of clean him out sort of thing, and then he got a yellow card for that. That was really unfortunate. So I think the Drua did score a try from that, but they did also get a yellow card. So it was kind of like discipline issue there. Also there was a lot of like argy-bargy going on around the field, and yeah, it was just a bit unnecessary in my opinion. There was, and also I feel like the referee may be a little bit lenient. Let me know what you thought if you watched this game. It looked to me like there was quite a few like unnecessary, you know, high shots to some of the players, and the referee didn't call any of them. So there was maybe something. Yeah, I'm not sure if that I'm just seeing things, but I felt like I saw quite a few high shots that was not called out. So overall, this was a huge improvement for the Waratahs, and Fijian Drua really showed that they're here to compete. Despite the scoreline, this was actually a lot closer than you think. There's just like a little bit of error that they weren't able to capitalize for the Druas. Otherwise, they would be much better in. They were actually in a much better position to score more points than they did. So overall, the point summary: Waratahs 5 tries to the 1 for the Drua. A bunch of penalties as well, 3 penalties. So the Waratahs came out with a lot of respect. Was taking the penalties instead of just trying to overpower the Fijians for tries. Essentially, Donaldson had a pretty good kicking. He seems to have a really good long range kick, but his kicking from the sidelines is off a little bit, so not quite 100% on that conversion. But it was, you know, a pretty decent effort for the Waratahs starting at number 10. So overall, 5 tries. I think there was one of the tries was So basically, the halftime score was 10 points to 21 points to 3, I think. But the Druas really kind of like fell apart a bit in the second half. But the Waratahs also let off the gas a bit in the second half, it looked like to me. So overall, this is kind of like the result. 5 tries to the Waratahs, 3 in the second half. I think the Gordon try was an intercept as well. In fact, the Waratahs had a couple intercepts from the Druas. So yeah, just really like the error started piling up against the Fijians in the second half a little bit. But then when the Waratahs reserves came on, the game kind of evened out a bit as well. Overall match stats: 375 meters for the Waratahs, 241 for the Fijians. There's 7 turnovers conceded for the Waratahs and 19 for the Fijians, and a lot of that are just their own, I guess, mistakes here and there. Tackles: 148 to 20 missed tackles, 97 tackles made, and 16 missed tackles. So Waratahs tackles hugely improved. Last year it was like way worse. It was like 35% missed tackles, and this is, you know, nowhere near 35%. So much improved defense effort there from the Waratahs as well. 19 kicks in play to the Fijians, 9. So Waratahs was more than happy to play the territory, whereas the Fijians were under a lot of pressure to try to score tries. The lineouts, like I said, the Fijian lineouts had a bit of issue. 5 lineouts lost for their own throws. That is not good. Waratahs had only 1 lineout loss. They actually scored 2 tries from the lineouts, more, and then I think there was might have been a lineout player as well that set up a try. So it was really good effort from the Waratahs. Scrums lost, 4 scrum lost for the Waratahs. A lot of that came in the second half with the reserves. Basically towards the end of the game, the Waratahs reserves on the field, and yeah, it didn't look good. The Waratahs scrum had dominance in the first with starting scrummaging with Angus Bell, was doing really well. And in fact, they were able to, I think, get a penalty or maybe one or 2 penalties from against the Fijians. But in the second half, especially towards the end, it was just quite bad. In fact, the Waratahs had a yellow card due to a scrum collapsing in in the last play of the game, essentially at like 81st minute or something, right? So it was pretty bad for the Waratahs towards the end. The reserves were not able to hold up the thing. So this is something the Waratahs, especially for the reserves, needs to really improve. Penalty conceded 21 to 12. Again, a lot of these penalties were conceded past the 80th minute, right? The Fijians really trying to score a try. And the Waratahs were just trying to hold them off, and were just throwing penalties out left and right. And in fact, like I said, the scrummaging collapsing was the result of just repeated penalties as well. Referee sent out a yellow card to the Waratahs. The Fijian had 1 yellow card due to like I said, one of the players afterwards has been gone, flips the Waratah player upside down in the ruck, try to clean him out. Not necessary, and it was quite dangerous. So yellow card there, something that the Fijians can improve as well. So yeah, this penalty count really ballooned a lot. I reckon there's about 7, maybe even more penalties that was just all happened in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game, in extra time, in fact. So yeah, this was pretty bad for the Waratahs. I mean, really unlucky. The Fijians were not able to score. They were, you know, they could have, yeah, probably taken a little bit. Maybe they rushed a little bit. They had a penalty and decided to take a quick tap. They crashed over the try line, but then got held up, and that was the end of the game. So yeah, maybe could have managed that a little bit better, but overall, there's definitely a lot of promise for the Fijian team to improve on. Waratahs still has a huge improvement to work with. Next week will be the big test for the Waratahs against the Reds. But first win, 448 days. This is pretty good for the Tahs. Let me know what you thought about this game, guys. For me, I thought there's huge improvements for the Waratahs 4-pack. The backline was pretty good. Overall, there was definitely a lot to improve for the reserve of the Waratahs. Not really up to the level that we kind of like. Yeah, there's really need to improve on the reserves. And the Fijians definitely looked like a team that could knock off 1 or 2 teams in the competition. And yeah, we shall see how the 2 teams progress next week. Thank you for watching this video. This is just gonna be a quick one. I mean, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you thought about this game. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the huge games tomorrow. I think there's 3 or 4 games tomorrow. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.